Pickaxe.
Hello and welcome to the podcast of this week's One Life Left radio show. I'm Simon Byron.
I am Steve Curran.
Phil is with us, our producer, not a guest. Is there any chance you can speak now, Phil?
Yeah, I can.
And you are?
I am.
You are?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yes.
I can hear you too. Are you reluctant to speak in these bits or during the show? Or,
no.
Or is there any reason why you can't be broadcast over the airwaves and that you just do the podcast bit?
It's the software.
Is it not something that you did on the radio once?
in a past life, that's not something I put on my CV. No.
Okay.
I can't talk about that. There's legal reasons.
Can you read out your notes for the show this evening?
Oh, Jesus. What? There's all this. First day of spring, blue sky like a Sega game.
Hold on. We didn't say like a Sega game.
I know. Well, I might make stuff up. Have you read my notes?
No, you're going to use an AI to repair us.
Maybe.
To just add little things we should have said into the show. Yeah, that'd be good.
I elaborate.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's for the show notes rather than a post-episode formal appraisal.
No, me and Phil and the rest of the management team have a meeting every week about your performance. Performance improvement plan. Phil's just taking notes and we'll run through the show and we'll talk about it.
After the annual review, yeah.
Right, I have previously worked at a company where I had an annual appraisal, where I was judged against criteria I was not allowed to see. I know that was fun.
Was it?
Yeah, it was lots of fun. Lots of fun. Very much enjoyed that. I said, "Can I see?" No, you can't see. Okay. I think I'll just go then.
Hints? Like, were they like asking you? Were they measuring you?
I don't know. I mean, I genuinely don't know.
Weighing
it was.
Just checking.
I had one of them, and then that was my last. I said, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I think.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fun show. So we didn't play the swearing AI. Is that something that you want to do or not? I mean, we should obviously. It's a family show anyway. But I did. I tell you what, like hearing
why don't we play it now? And let's play it. And if Phil wants to, he can crop it out of this bit because it's easier to do with this bit than it is to do the rest of it. Right?
Pressure's all on me to
here we go.
To edit it.
Here we go. Or you could just beep it out. No, I've not heard this. Here we go.
I am the producer of God of War Ragnarok, the game that won 6 awards at the Bafta Games Awards and was the most nominated game in Bafta's history. And yet Vampire Survivors, not even the best game made in Britain this year, was declared the best game of the year. It's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, for an AI voice, that gets the intonation well, doesn't it?
I'm surprised the AI would swear.
Well, it did swear, and it swore very well.
Did you get it you didn't add, because you can edit the... Oh, no, you can't edit the transcript.
I can't edit, no. I have to make the AI swear. Imagine how I do that. Imagine how long that took me.
I can probably make it so you can edit it. Shall I do that?
No, I don't. No, I don't want to touch it. Anyway, there we go. That was an AI swearing, and it said it with passion, didn't it?
Really did. You know, the NewsBots, whoever the NewsBot was trained on must do a good swear.
He has said the Champions League swear word to me once is what he called me.
Really?
Actually, at an E3. There we go. That ties it all nicely into what we talk about during the show.
The E stands for Easter egg.
Yeah, that's right. Charles thought I'd misled him about where I was staying that year, and when he bumped into, he had been drinking. I was quite happily walking past him. He was in a bar. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Simon," and then he used the worst swear word.
Wow.
So there we go. Maybe the AI knows Charles better than he knows himself.
Well, I enjoyed today's show.
Yes.
Hopefully, we'll be back next week, but we will find out. Well, we'll find out when we speak to you guys in 2 weeks, I suppose.
Exactly. But before then, it's us now. Here comes the show. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Good evening and welcome to One Life Left on Resonance 104.4 FM. We are a video game radio show. My name is Steve Curran.
Hello, I'm Simon Byron.
How are you doing, Simon?
Very, very well, Steve. How are you?
I'm okay too. It's a beautiful day in South London. Blue skies. It feels like the first day of spring.
Not sure if you can hear outside the shed. There's some birds are saying goodnight to each other. Different in South London, isn't it? Outside your window, there'll be other goings on, I imagine.
I do understand what you mean, and I am envious of your shed sometimes, Simon. But let me pretend at least this is idyllic. Blue skies, blue skies. It feels optimistic. Feels like a new era of One Life Left. Episode, what are we? 504. 504. Okay, good. We now have producer Phil watching over us, don't we, Simon?
We do. But have I done something wrong? Why is this happening? Why is he here now?
Just so he can, do things like that where I'm like 504 and he can do the appropriate hand signal.
Okay.
And I'm sure he'll be
is he
doing
allowed
more
to
appropriate
speak?
hand signals later in the show.
Is he allowed to speak?
I don't know. I don't know if he can. We had that. I remember when we first moved to Riverside, he spoke for a while and then then there was just ghostly silence in the recording. So
I feel at the moment we aren't getting the best from Phil. We're just getting a few angry hand gestures. I find it very off-putting. And does he need to be naked?
Do either of us? Any of us? It's summer, Simon. Dress code has changed. Have you had a good week?
It's been really busy, actually, because it was WASD or WASD or WASD. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it was the gaming event in London so soon after GDC. What a crazy thing to do. Why can't these people talk to each other? I was away for a week at GDC. I come back for 2 days, and then it's set up day for WASD.
Ridiculous. I didn't go.
You would know your absence was noted.
Was it? Well,
yeah, in the content creator lounge.
We'll talk about WASD later in the show. I'm very excited to find out what you saw there, what you did, how the party was.
Party. It was good.
Was it good? All right. Well, we'll find out more about that later in the show. We also have the video game news coming up this week with another NewsBot upgrade. Excited to find out about that.
AI has evolved again, has it?
Well, week on week, I've got to stay ahead of the trends in video game radio show news delivery, and it is, it's a battle. But look forward to that in a couple of minutes. Also have video game reviews. Simon, have you played anything this week?
I'm still plodding through it, Steve.
Okay.
I can review the third region of Far Cry 5 if you like.
Can't wait. I've got a game to talk about, sort of. We've also got letters. We definitely have letters this week, or letter, at least. I think maybe 2. It's all right, isn't it? I always feel like that bit's not on us. It's on the listeners. If they haven't written, we could just sit there in silence for 10 minutes. Be their own fault. So we won't do, because we've got 2 letters, which is more than enough to keep us going.
Or if they don't... If we can't rely on them, we'll just replace them with AI.
Maybe I already have, Simon. Maybe that's what this week's letters are. And anything else? Do we have any other business to deal with?
I think that's probably enough. That feels like an action-packed 60 minutes.
No guest this week. Despite all of the guests we queued up at GDC, that roster.
I've just been really, really busy, and the one person I was going to ask, I thought I was going to ask Alistair, who made Plate Up, but he's just come back from the show. from WASD, and I thought, God, the boy needs a break. The boy, don't we all need a break?
We all need a break, but we and our NewsBot have to get on with it. So this is the news.
Video game news with Anne Scantleberry.
It's 7:07 on Monday, the 3rd of April, 2023. I'm Simon Byron, and this is the NewsBot.
Jeff Kiley has reacted positively to the news that the 2023 Electronic Entertainment Expo, E3, has been cancelled, noting that 4 years ago he had realised that E3 wasn't evolving as it needed and started creating what's next in the form of Summer Game Fest, which will go ahead on June 8th. While it is sad that E3 won't be taking place, Jeff can proudly bask in the knowledge that he and the Summer Game Fest have provided a solution, and now no one can stop him from becoming the emperor of video games.
Welcome, NewsBot, the upgrade. And so you introduced it to me privately, Steve. So it's not perfect yet, but when I was doing the news stories earlier, and to say that this one has been summarised from videogameschronicle.com by our NewsBots. Thank you, videogameschronicles.com. The new voice, you've trained it off a guess. Kate, my wife of 10 years, happy anniversary, spotted it straight away. She said, "That's Charles." Is it Charles, Steve?
It is Charles. I thought
Charles, the NewsBot.
Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds. One of the things we've noted is that the AI takes voices and makes them, between 10 and 25% posher. For you and I, it upgrades our voices significantly. For Charles, there isn't a lot of wiggle room, is there?
It's not posh enough. Did you? Can AIs have MBEs?
Well, I think it does a pretty good impression, but also I think it's distinct enough for us to say, no, Charles, it's just a nice sounding Englishman.
It is. Reading the story. How was he reading the story, Steve?
Well, he did say Jeff Kiley. Which confused me for a minute, but
so that story
you want to know? So it sounded to me. Well, to be honest, the story seemed to embody a lot of the feelings that I have about this story, which is when the news broke about E3 not occurring this year, I saw a host of people on my Twitter feed going, "Oh, this is a terrible shame. This is awful. Really sad to see it happen." But several of those people, Simon, I think, were partially responsible for it not occurring. A lot of people go,
"What? So if we kick it so much, it just stops, does it? If we kick it, we didn't mean. Get up, E3.
Such a shame. Stop breathing. Why isn't it moving?" Yeah. A boo hoo hoo. I mean, I never. Well, sorry. So I would say that the delivery of Charles's, NewsBot's piece would be sarcastic, somewhat.
The instructions were to write it as if by a delighted Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, right.
And they should end the story speculating that no one can stop him from becoming the emperor of video games, because that's what it is now. We've kicked E3. We've kicked everything so much. Jeff emerges from the ashes. The news broke during the Video Games Baftas, which we'll talk about shortly. And Jeff was over. He was over. It was so. I mean, that felt to me like somebody deliberately getting pictured elsewhere so that they had an alibi.
An alibi.
I wasn't even in America. I wasn't even in America. He said, "Do you want to sign up for my showcase?" Exactly.
Dreadful shame. I mean, yeah, of course we had issues, but I wouldn't want to see.
I was over the Baftas though. Look. But as we joked, I don't think we were kicking. When we had stories saying from the organisers saying, "Yeah, it's definitely happening. Ubisoft to come in." It's like, we spotted that it was unlikely, and so it's proven to be. E3, at least for this year, is no more.
How do you feel about this, Simon?
I've not been to E3 for a while, by choice. I felt for a long time it's not been a show for me. It has been a show for others. I do, and I say this every year. I do like that moment that E3 brings, where the world seems to focus on video games and lots of things happen around it. And now it's just going to be Jeff, or Key 3, as it's been dubbed.
Yeah, I didn't ever love E3. In fact, I would go so far as to say I loathed it. Like, being there, it wasn't for me. It's the huge hall of lots of people shouting at each other. My last memory of it, the memory I will take away, is of going to see, I don't know, maybe it was 10 years ago, and seeing there was a Call of Duty being announced, and there were just hundreds of men filming on their cell phones a huge countdown on the screen, which was a countdown until the trailer launched. And this was some time away from that countdown ceasing. So it was like 25 minutes, and they just had their phones out filming a number that was counting down. It was that kind of empty hype vehicle laden with people trying to get footage for their blogs, and it gave me migraines and didn't like it. However, it felt like an event, and I don't want to romanticize it or anything. Obviously, everyone was paying a lot of money to people to get in there, to get floor space, but that sort of atmosphere of competition between the big publishers and the platform holders also felt kind of exciting in a way. Like, what's the Sony booth going to be like? What's the Microsoft booth going to be like? What's the Nintendo place going to be like? All of that kind of thing. And then as people started opting out and realizing that it would be cheaper and easier for them to perform to their audience online and on their own, slowly it started to lose some of its magic. Then they invited the general public in, which I never attended for any of that era, but just felt like even more horrendous to me. And in that, what you've lost is a platform for the smaller publishers, right? And the smaller developers, and the weird little niche thing that you used to get in. Was it Kentia Hall? The sort of the cheaper place at E3 to exhibit. And that is the kind of thing that I'll miss, is that everyone's in the same venue together. And you may see these huge things and you may laugh at how much money publishers are spending on that, but you also get an opportunity to see the smaller stuff as well. That's all gone now. And although, like you say, it wasn't an event for me or you anymore, I will miss the fact that it's happening, I think.
What we find ourselves in, though, is because what you had were all these other events that would gather around E3, that would often be outside of the event itself, stuff happening in LA at the time. So as the games industry descended, lots of bits and bobs going on. So now that E3's gone, we've still got these events happening around a date that was picked, 100 years ago when E3 first happened, it was designed around showing buyers what they could order in time for Christmas. And so that initial reason has long gone. But still, we have Jeff Summers' showcase. Ubisoft has said that they're doing something. Sony have said that they're doing something. There'll be all this other stuff that happens around this weird week in the summer that doesn't need to be that time anymore.
The games industry calendar is very front-loaded, isn't it? Like, I was looking at my calendar for speaking and karaoke and that kind of thing, and everything is in the first half of the year. So I wonder if there's an opportunity for E3 to pop up, reinvent itself to be closer to the end of the year. I don't know.
Well, let's see. ReedPop issued a statement on Thursday night, I think it was. For those of you who did commit to E3, we're sorry we can't put on the showcase you deserve and that you've come to expect from ReedPop's event experiences. The statement also says the ESA and ReedPop will continue to work together on future E3 events. So let's see.
As per usual, PlayStation 5 fanboys have been let down with the PC port of The Last of Us Part 1. Many players are reporting poor performance, frequent crashes, high VRM usage, and long load times. This port is a bit of a mess and looks like it's missing all the ports and plugs it needs to run properly. Talk about a shocking port.
Did we train that on Angry Charles? He's serious. He loves it. Do you know? Genuinely, Charles loves his Steam Deck at the moment. He says, "Simon, I'm playing so many games," and he did sound angry there that he's had trouble playing The Last of Us on his Steam Deck.
It also sounded like he really was reading that out of a series of cue cards that had been handed to him, and that he'd been given some sort of directorial advice, like, sound angry, Charles, get angry. Really, he's putting as much as he can into this.
Well, it was spoken as a PlayStation fanboy, Steve.
Yeah, clearly. Well, I saw the number of negative reviews on the Steam page for The Last of Us. It's being review bombed as we speak. I think it was mostly negative when I was there. And yeah, I had assumed that this was because it was PC fanboys going, we don't want your type of game over here. Play it, But it turns out the game is actually bad. Is that right?
Yes. I pre-ordered it. I don't know why.
Why?
I don't know why. In case it ran out of stock. Again, I'm with Charles on the Steam Deck, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I will give The Last of Us a go.
Have you played it before?
Yeah, and I didn't like it, did I? But, everything's better on the Steam Deck. So I pre-ordered it, and I preloaded it, which, as much as I love Steam, preloading, I think, is a false economy, isn't it? You download it all, and then it takes about almost as long to unpack what's it doing. Then you load it up, and genuinely for an hour, you have to wait. So it recommends that you wait whilst you pre-cache your shaders. I don't know what that means, but I didn't want to go against its own advice. I mean, turns out what it should say is like wait for an infinite amount of time. Wait for the next 3 patches to drop before you hit A and start a new game. The intro I played, like the first 10 minutes, seemed to run okay, but I've seen some images and some videos on the internet showing just some horrific looking graphical glitches and some very heavily downgraded characters running on the Steam Deck. So I've not gone back to it.
So this isn't the first game Sony has brought across onto the PC. In the previous ones, Spider-Man, God of War, they didn't suffer from this kind of problem, did they?
They got 2 porting studios, don't they? Although it's unclear as to who exactly did this, because Naughty Dog have said it was them with help from Nixies, is it? Whereas the Spider-Man ports were done... my mind's gone blank, by a different studio that Sony now own. Now, I understand this is the same studio. Sorry, I understand as if somebody's whispered it to me. I think I read somewhere. This is the same studio that did Horizon Zero Dawn, which had a troubled launch as well. Okay. They've got two different porting companies, and this isn't the best one as far as I can see. Loads of people were trying to play it, though. I mean, it looked like there was, I don't know, perhaps because Days Gone is a really good port. God of War, I think, is now. Uncharted seems to run okay. But the Spider-Man ones in particular are very good. Maybe Sony was beginning to get a reputation for quality ports. But launched in a shocking state.
Asganon, I'm so excited for the release of The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Eiji Aonuma has revealed a ton of new abilities that Link can use, and it looks so cool. From the recall ability to the fuse ability, I can't wait to take on Hyrule with all these new tricks up my sleeve. My tears are full of excitement.
So that is NewsBot taking the persona of Charles Cecil as if they believed they were Ganon.
Yep.
Yep. It's
And at
strange
the
that
end,
Ganon can't say Hyrule, though.
Well, indeed. And at the end,
Unless
I asked
we
it.
can't.
Well, perhaps, yeah, maybe that's the authority. The end, I asked it, and this is a difficult request to make in written form. I said, can you make a joke about tears being spelt the same as tears? Which is what it did. Did you watch this?
I did not, because I'm trying, and this will be difficult for this news story. I'm trying to avoid spoilers. I've got this. I don't know. When I read, I had no idea it was coming out so soon. And when I found that out, I felt like a genuine wave of relief, because I was like, I'm going to buy that and play it. And that means I don't have to decide what I'm going to buy and play, like, in the near future. It's just certain I'm going to play it, like, and I'll play it for a significant length of time, I assume, as well. So, yeah, I've been avoiding all spoilers, but I've heard good things.
I watched it and I enjoyed it. And then Dexter was round. And so Dexter, myself and Kate, we all watched it together. And, I was concerned that the similarities between Breath of the Wild might be too much, because that's a huge game, Breath of the Wild, and more of it. If it wasn't too different, I think could have been an issue. But the overwhelming consensus from the Byron household was that we're in. In fact, so Dexter has it pre-ordered as a Christmas present from a relative. I've got it pre-ordered. And then Kate, whose birthday is that week, said, well, whose birthday is it that week? She wants a copy as well. I think we might be a 3 Tears of the Kingdom household.
Well, 4 if you count me as part of your household.
Which I do.
I hope you do. Because I'm definitely in. I really admire their decision to not reinvent the land. Because that's quite brave, right? Like, from a traditional sort of video gaming follow-up point of view is, look, you've got a whole new world to explore. But the thing about this, as I understand it, having avoided spoilers, is that it is the same location. It is Hyrule, as Charles said. And that's fine for me. Like, that place is massive. I last played this, 5 years ago or whatever. I've presumably mostly forgotten about it. I'd far rather I don't care whether it's this woods or that woods or this beach or that beach. It's all the same. It's the stuff you're doing inside that environment that's the interesting thing to me, and I can't wait to find out what that is.
Okay, I'm not going to say any more about that. The new abilities look fun, and they look a lot more like, we all remember the videos of people, and they continue to surface, actually, people finding new ways to break things or to do things differently within Breath of the Wild. It looks like you'll be able to have an awful lot of fun with some of the abilities there. We watched it. I watched it twice. It's a big thumbs up. 4 thumbs up from the Byron household.
As a special April Fool's, Sega has released an all-new murder mystery game featuring Sonic the Hedgehog. I, Dr. Robotnik, have invented a surefire hit video game to join this fun-filled mystery. The Madness of Robotnik. Accompany Sonic and his pals as they enter the bizarre world of my creation and attempt to unravel the mystery of Sonic's whereabouts. Hurry and download it now. Who knows what secrets you will uncover?
It's almost there, isn't it? I was about to say, let's pause for a moment and just marvel at how good this NewsBot technology is. Charles's enunciation in that was just perfect. And then there's just sometimes a little flaw at the end, isn't there? Like, in the way where it delivers the ends of sentences.
Well, but it's moving away from summarising a story in front of it to speculating. I don't think it's quite clear in that one that he is. So the final thing of what he mentions is an invention of the AI. So the actual story is that Sega released the death of Sonic, the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog game, which is true. And at the end of the story, I asked him to invent a video game April Fool. Which you did. So this was a surprise. Steve, have you downloaded it? Have you played it?
I haven't, no. I thought it was a good idea. There's been a few of these kind of things, haven't there? It takes the sort of form of a Phoenix Writer-like, doesn't it? It's a kind of Japanese dating game aesthetic. And those are relatively cheap to produce. And certainly from the amount of fuss I've seen on the internet about this, Sega have definitely got their marketing value out of the back of it, haven't they?
Yep. And it's nice in that it is a fun thing to do rather than a social media department working on a tweet for a month and say, let's do that. That'll be funny. Did you see any other ones, Steve? I'm going to run through some highlights in inverted commas for you.
I saw that the Sun said that Harry and Meghan are releasing a video game called Megxit, and then it was a Call of Duty pun, wasn't it?
Yeah, something along those lines. That didn't make Kotaku's best video games April Fools, I don't think.
Yeah, it was once again like most articles from tabloids about newspapers. It was themed around the idea that video games are all like they were in the 80s, so it was a platform where you jump on stuff. And, yeah.
So, the highlights, according to Kotaku, Pokemon. So they say, here are two true statements. Lechonk is a perfect Pokemon, and Lechonk deserves more love than we can offer. So while there's an underlying pain that Lechonk can only dominate Pokemon on a holiday meant for jokes, I'm happy to report that Lechonk will get the stardom it deserves on April 1st. True Lechonk fans will treat themselves to a extra chonky plush or a Porky Pig playmat decked out with numerous Lechonks. I don't get that at all.
New Pokemon called Chonk. Lechonk. A chonky Pokemon. Do you know what chonky means? Chonky is one of those.
Are we allowed to say it?
I don't know. Well, we'll come to that in the next news story, but
okay.
Go on. Next April Fool.
IGN said that Nintendo is adding the voice actors from the Super Mario Brothers movie to some of its biggest games through Nintendo Switch Online, with the option to have Chris Pratt's voice in the original Super Mario Brothers and Jack Black's Bowser in Mario Odyssey. LOL. Got you. Got you there. I'm going to skip that one. Genshin Impact reveals 4 playable cats. Is that true or not? Don't know. Among Us expands its horse universe. It brought back horse mode. Apparently it did do that for a bit. Razer launched the Razer, a razor for gamers. Like a shaving razor.
Okay. Funny.
Good job.
I mean, it is because razor sounds like razor.
When you think about it.
It's clever.
Rainbow Six Siege said you could assassinate teddy bears. You could 1v1 your cat in Street Fighter. Baldur's Gate will let you cheese everything. Said Larian. Good stuff, Larian. Minecraft is on fire. Rocket League put an Easter egg in it, Easter egg ball. It's just, it's just all good stuff, isn't it?
It's just great. It does have the sort of, most of it has this kind of joyless, obligated feel of just like, oh Christ!
Well, let's just say
3 weeks
something
before April Fool's Day. What can we? Because we're gonna have to do something. What is it going to be?
Well, those things have well and truly been done.
All right. Which of the next 2 files do you want me to play, Simon?
It depends whether you want to do any editing.
I really don't. So I'll play.
Well, look. Why do this is the radio show, so play the censored version.
As the producer of God of War Ragnarok, I'm incredibly irritated that our game, which had the most Bafta nominations of all time, won 6 awards, yet still ended up losing out on the Best Game Award to Vampire Survivors, which isn't even the best game made in Britain this year. It's unbelievable and totally ridiculous.
It is. I said this a lot on Friday. I couldn't believe it. It was like some members of the BAFTA committee were like, just how could we make the BAFTAs better? I'm like, well, for goodness sakes, how can you have a game that was shortlisted in the best of British game category? How can the game that didn't win that category then win best game? It can't be. Those two things cannot be true. And why didn't somebody just do something about that? Go, hang on a minute. If you think about it, a game that's not the best game made in Britain is the best game.
Oh man!
I mean, if I was Roll7, who did win the best British game with Rollerdrome, I would be just like the year I won Industry Hero of the MCV Awards, and there was an industry hero and an industry person. Well, all heroes are people, but not all people are heroes, Steve.
So, okay, I managed to, and I can't believe I successfully did this, but avoid all news around the BAFTAs this year, which made my life much better. And you've now made it slightly worse, as you do every week. So, sorry, Vampire Survivors won Game of the Year.
Best game.
Are you kidding me?
No, and that's fine. I mean,
it's not. It's definitely not. It's really not. Oh man.
But it didn't win Best British Game, which it was up for. Are you happy with that?
But
it won. I tell you what else it won. It won Game Design.
Wait, what?
It did, yeah.
Game Design. Well, there's hope for us all. How much will it cost me to put Skriddle up for best game design?
£300.
£300. All right, maybe we'll see how much money we get from the pickaxe adverts on the podcast of One Life Left, and we'll sink that into our lottery shop, because if that can win Game Design of the Year, and
I was just trying to work out whether it is their first game or not, because if it is, then they also didn't win Best Debut.
Well, congratulations to the winner of Game of the Year, and also congratulations to the winner of Best British Game. That is a brilliant game, isn't it?
Rollerdrome, absolutely. And I got a message from Kate, who was listening to the Radio 5 Live's coverage of the BAFTAs, and she said, Simon Bennett from Roll7, she said, he sounds like a really nice chap. Mm. And then she listened to last week's One Life Left, where we talked about him, what he was watching before he pitched. And she said, I'm slightly out of sync. He's still a nice chap. Of course he is.
Right, that's the end of the news. Thank you very much, Simon.
You're welcome. And it is a shame, radio listeners, that you can't hear an AI swear.
One Life Left video game news with Anne Scantleberry.
You're listening to One Life Left on Resonance 104.4 FM. We're a video game radio show. That means we talk about video games as well as some other things for about an hour every week on Resonance 104.4 FM. We're also a podcast, which you can hear at www.onelifeleft.com. At that address, you can read the show notes, which are being put together right now in full view of the presenters of One Life Left by our producer, Phil. Phil, how do you think the show is going right now? Represent it with a hand gesture, please. How would you describe that hand gesture, Simon?
Well, first of all, it was a mouth gesture, wasn't it?
It was.
And it was the mouth gesture of somebody who just drunk a freshly squeezed orange juice.
A little bit tarter than expected.
A little bit tart.
And then a sort of, 50-50 hand, which I think is all we've grown to expect at this stage in our radio careers. We're doing this for 17 years now, which makes us the longest running radio show about video games that is broadcast in English.
And actually not the best British radio show.
No,
Demonstrably.
but maybe the best radio show. We don't know.
Exactly.
Easily lose one and win the other. Just don't know at this point. Right. Shall we do the letters or letter?
Email, messages, and forward BCC. One life letters.
Shane Powell wrote, "Dear team, NewsBot, current version, brackets, and SSG. I tried to put this letter into Discord, but it was too long. It's kind of 2 letters, so feel free to merge, chop, and change as desired. I've had a few fun weeks in the world of PC gaming. Not sure if you've been following the development and release of Company of Heroes, brackets, Relic stroke Sega, but surprise, surprise, it was another one of those games that have released in an unfinished state, even after delays. The core single-player campaign felt like an early test version, and the main game UI looks like some unfinished placeholder, throwing in crashes and AI that is just awful, even like expert difficulty, and a lack of maps means you are left with some rather unhappy gamers. Reception was negative, as to be expected, and there have been heated exchanges on the Discord since. Should we expect the game to be in a finished state at launch? Does paying £60 to £85 mean you are entitled to expect the game to be functional and not bare bones? Should we thank them for slowly finishing the game post-release, or should they be flogged until we are satisfied? Relic have yet to acknowledge the state of the game, merely saying they are improving it. Personally, I think communication goes a long way, and admitting the game was unfinished would be a good first step. Still, they have just released their first major patch with a teased new feature that remains a secret right up until release. Can you guess what it is? Correct! They added an in-game store that allows you to buy skins with in-game currency and real money at crazy prices, a FOMO revolving item section, and anything that looks remotely good locked behind hard currency. To top it off, you earn in-game currency by completing MMO-style objectives in an RTS. So while you're fighting the enemy, a teammate could be trying to build the 20 tank traps they need to do their daily challenge. Yeah, you can imagine how it went down. To me, this just shows that it is likely Sega pulling the major strings here, as the timing and implementation of this was completely tone deaf. The game's Discord is a heated place with people unhappy, people asking unhappy people to be patient, and the odd person complaining that their credit card is not being accepted when trying to buy skins. What are your thoughts on all of this? Wowzers! Thank you, Shane. I'm sorry that this is happening to you and the Company of Heroes guys. It's not a game for me, Company of Heroes. So I was surprised it had been released. But then when I looked and saw when it did come out, I do remember the Steam takeover. But yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not good, is it? What's going on at the moment in terms of games just being released unfinished? So
that's the answer to the first question, right? Should games be released unfinished, Simon?
No, they should not, Steve. Not even in early access. They still need to be sort of finished to a certain extent, I believe. And so, no, the only positive you can take from this is that Steam is such a consumer-friendly store that if something doesn't work, you can get a refund. It does have a couple of limitations. You need to refund within 14 days of buying it, and you have to have played under 2 hours, which is difficult when you spend over an hour of those compiling your shaders on the recommendation of the game itself. Yeah. But my understanding is that Valve have been a bit more lenient with The Last of Us refund requests, and that people that have played over that have been able to refund their money. But even so, you shouldn't have to do it, should you? It's absolutely crazy.
For me, I think the reasons that game developers do this are well documented. There was, certainly in the early days of early access, was this feeling, oh, it's brilliant because now we get 2 launches. We get a launch out there, and then that's just not true. You get 1 launch, 1 big splash, and if you choose to make that your early access launch, you better be sure that your game is in a good enough state to get the kind of positive feedback that begins that hype cycle and brings people in until you actually hit version 1. So yeah, while the name sounds, this is like, oh, this is great, lads. We can put out a beta version. We'll get a really dedicated, hardcore group of fans to help us develop it in a way a community might really like. That's not what happens. What happens is you launch a version, that you already know is going to be slightly disappointing because it's not finished yet, and people yell at you for that because they expect it to be ready. They expect something to be finished and something to be fun. Too often, games aren't fun right up until the last moment. So that's, something to be really, really cautious about. The second thing is, and I saw Simon Carlos say something about this in his newsletter this week, that you have to be careful because as soon as you pull that trigger for launch, whether it's, even if it's early access, you trap yourself into this community-led dev cycle, and that's it. There's no way of turning that off. Like, you are from that point working on a 24/7 development cycle in full view of the community, who will have demands, and that community can, in edge cases, be a really positive place and everyone be delighted with what you're doing, but in most cases a place where people are just yelling at you because they're really disappointed that the game you have put out that you said wasn't finished isn't finished. So yeah, got to be careful.
And then from making your first major patch, adding a store in. I don't know. Did somebody do that for a bet?
Poor optics, isn't it? And that's, I suppose, the other reason why people put these things out early is because they're like, okay, well, yes, we'll be trapped in this ongoing dev cycle. We know that, but suddenly we'll have money coming in to fund that. But you won't have money coming in if your game starts to get into a negative feedback loop. And it's really surprising to me that something backed by Sega would do this, especially would make that kind of make it very clear they're doing this for an income stream by releasing the store so early.
Shane then ties this to The Last of Us, which we've discussed. He does mention, he said, interestingly, the porting developer was quickly removed from the store page after the game launched. Didn't spot that.
I wonder what that means.
He asks, are we entitled to complain on day one? Answer, yes. And do you think this will have an effect on future Sony games coming to PC? I would hope so.
I mean, what do you think it'll affect them as in they won't come to PC? Or
I just hope that they will learn from it and that the next game, because we all want Ghosts of Tsushima, don't we? We hope that that's treated with the respect it deserves.
All right, there's another letter in the Discord. This is from Drew. Drew writes, "Dear team and Anbot 2.0 and SSG, question mark." A bit of a pointed question mark there, I think. I was interested to hear that one of Split Second's developers blamed the lack of market success on it being released the same week as Red Dead Redemption. While this no doubt did not help, I was always of the understanding that the main issue was that it released just 1 week ahead of the Activision-published combat arcade racer Blur. While it's likely that a lot of customers had room in their collection for a cowboy simulator and a competitive racing game, fewer likely had room for 2 competitive racers, leaving Split Second and Blur to cannibalize one another's sales. I have often read that the two being, anecdotally at least, jointly associated with the death knell of the arcade racer. Other than Forza Horizon series, arcade racers only seem to thrive as Outrun-inspired indies. I should probably link this to a question. So which dormant genre would you like to see return in popularity? For me, it would be the movie tie-in with a different game style for each level. Toodlepip. Drew.
That's a great. I agree with you. It's a shame. It's a shame that we don't see movie tie-ins anymore. Because some of them were good. Somebody, PC Gamer rediscovered the old Batman Returns PC game, which was a detective game back in the day, as opposed to the old sort of ocean fighting and driving and slidey puzzles type game, which was lots of fun. And RoboCop 3 treated the license very differently. So yeah, shame we don't get any of those anymore. So what's the implication there? Is that because the two of them came out so close to each other, neither sold as well as expected and therefore wiped it out? Because you can't buy Blur anymore, can you? It's been delisted. That's how much it failed, or some license expired.
But that is interesting. You can imagine people drawing the assumption from the sort of low sales of both that cannibalize each other's, that these games don't sell anymore. And yeah, I can't think of a big budget arcade racer made recently. Can you?
No, I'm still enjoying Split Second, so there's no need for one. It's about £3, or it was when I bought it.
One of the things that I miss. When we were at GDC, we were walking around the expo hall. I heard that familiar clack, 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 clack of light gun games. There was a peripheral manufacturer with a VR light gun in one stand at the hall. And yeah, it really, really did make me miss Point Blank, like one of my favourite games, and just that kind of genre as well. Which reminded me, Simon, weren't you going to get a Sinden light gun? And did that ever happen?
The problem with the Sinden light guns is that you can't order them today and have them tomorrow. And I also think it requires some setting up, which is probably beyond me. I do want one.
Yeah, so do I.
Well,
let's get Mr. Sinden on the show.
Exactly.
Just drop a little hint and see what we can do. Okay, that's the end of the letters. If you have anything you'd like us to read out on One Life Left, Britain's favourite video game radio show, then you can do that by emailing
team@onelifeleft.com
or dropping a note in the One Life Left Discord.
As long as it's not too long.
You're listening to One Life Left on Resonance 104.4 FM. We're also a podcast which you can find at www.onelifeleft.com. Like and subscribe. Simon, this is the any other business portion of the show. Unless you've got a 12-minute review of Far Cry 3, we should talk about Worcester. How was it?
WASD. Yes, so it's moved venue. So WASD is the London's gaming event, born out, I think, of Rezzed, which was like the more indie style show. They used to take place at Tobacco Dock. This is run by the team that founded Rezzed. Isn't called Rezzed. Had Sony there, so it's no longer exclusively indie, although Sony and Nintendo, I think, have been at Rezzed before. But yes, it was crammed into the Truman Brewery in East London. And I have to say, Steve, I was surprised by South London when I visited your residence. I thought, this is quite nice. East London's really nice as well these days.
Should move back.
Should move back. So, yes, it took place within some interconnecting rooms. There was lots of stuff there. It was nice to see people. We were exhibiting Plate Up, which is available now, and Beyond the Long Night, which comes out a week on Monday, April the 17th. So we were there working all 3 days. We were right next to Devolver, who were really cool. They had... They just had lots of fun on their stand, and they were selling cool jackets that I'm definitely too old to wear, and too tight to buy as well, actually. But yeah, it was good. Lots of games on display. What did I saw the Vampire Survivors guys before they won their Bafta, and I had a picture taken with them. This is coming out of the Premier Inn Hub, which is the small version of the Premier Inns, where you stay effectively in little capsules. They're all there in their Vampire Survivors capsules on the way to the BAFTAs. I played a fair number of games, the names of all of which escape me. I played Paper Trail. I played Sentry, Gary's new game. That was very good. I saw Mike Bithell.
He's very handsome. He's good looking.
He was. I'll be straight, and I did tell him this. He was less handsome at WASD. I said, "Well, were you out late last night?" He said, "No, I was just watching John Wick." Said, yeah, of course you were, Mike. So that was good. I didn't get to go on PlayStation VR, but I did see people playing, and it does look good, Steve. It does look good. I saw Tony Gowland, who's launching Dungeon Golf at some point. That was good. So I very much enjoyed it. Lots of games to see. The only room for improvement, I think, is that they had loads of food, not trucks, but food stalls within an enclosed space, and so the press office really did smell of meat. I did an interview for AFP, Steve. I was on the Associated French Press News.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen that, and I don't really want to see it because I'm sure I talked a load of nonsense.
Did you speak a little French?
Un petit peu, Steve, un petit peu.
Very good. Did you see on our Discord, someone was getting French adverts in our
Right,
podcast?
well, maybe they'll get more now. That was good. The industry party was really good, actually. Normally, these things are not. But the bar lasted all night, and I bumped into lots of people that I hadn't seen for ages. And I remember very little about what I said to them, but I did not wake up with any regrets.
Well, thanks for the invite, Simon.
You're welcome. I think anybody could have been in. Well, actually, you're welcome. I was flyed by somebody who works with you in the queue for the party, which annoyed me. I was like, we're giving me stuff that Steve does in his day job. I know what he does. I don't need leaflets. She was very good, though. Very good. Very persistent.
Good. Well, I'm pleased to hear you had a good time. Maybe I'll pop along next year. It's in my city. I didn't go. I was annoyed, Simon. I thought we had an agreement. If I come to Hitchin, I tell you about it.
Right. Did you not know about it then?
You come to London, don't tell me. I knew about it, but I don't mean going to the event. I mean seeing you.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I was working down. I mean, I was looking after the guys. It was nice. It's what I had to do.
I understand. But we're family, Simon.
We are family.
We're a
Household.
Zelda household, so
Yeah.
Right. Talking of which, time for the reviews. Simon, I've played very little. I've been working on my game still. Rebranded from Scriddle to what's it called now? Can't remember. Very bad rebrand. It's called Sideword. SteveCurran.com/sideword, and it's still quite good. Nice little word game, and I've been also working on another secret project in my spare time rather than playing games. I did find some time to have a little go on the game that currently, I say currently, it's no longer there. Okay, it was at the top of itch last time I looked at it, and now it's gone. So I'm going to have to search for it. I can't find it. You review your Far Cry Not 3 game for a second and I'll...
Well, previous listeners will know I'm making my way through the game. I've got further than I had done last time before Dexter wiped my save. Faith is dead, Steve.
Right.
First
I'm sorry
time,
to hear that.
Actually. No, it's good news.
Okay.
So I'm into the
pleased
third.
to hear that.
I'm into the third area, getting quite close to the end of that. It's just great. It's just, it's still good. I'm still massively overpowered with my gunship, so I'm just cruising the skies, looking for settlements, and now it's RB, two bursts of rockets, take the alarms out, and then all good. I will finish it this week, but because I do want to play Dredge. I'll tell you how much I want to play it, Steve, because I said to Meg at Team 17, well, first of all, I said to Simon at Team 17, I said, Dredge is coming out, I see. And they're like, yeah. So I said, okay. So I moved from Simon to Meg, and I said, I see Dredge is out later. Good luck with that. And she said, yeah. And I said, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. She went, I said, doesn't you got any codes, have you? And she went, she just sort of did that face that Phil did, like she'd just been drinking some orange juice. And then I went, oh, I should buy it then, shouldn't I? And she went, yeah, I think you should, Simon. So I bought it.
Well, that's why you... I haven't played over aggressively, but you atted her on Twitter, I saw.
Yeah. I haven't played over 2 hours yet, so let's see. Still got 10 days to think about it. It does look good, though. It looks like it's doing very well.
Okay, good. So I found the game that I briefly played, which was on the front of itch when I looked. It's called Formula Grand Prix. Have you heard of it?
No, but I think I can imagine what it is.
So I was going to say, what do you think Formula Grand Prix is?
It's racing with farm animals, isn't it?
No, it's not.
What?
No.
Well, it should be. Quick, make that.
Should be quick. Well, so it's top-down racer, where you race a tractor around. You know those sort of games that are prevalent in the kind of 16-bit era top-down racers around a track
Super
that's on the
sprints.
screen. Exactly, that kind of thing. So that, but with a tractor, and as you race around, you plough the field.
Shut up.
And you've got to outrun style, get to the line in the right time to get a time bonus. On your second lap, Simon, you can pull over into the pit. Guess what? You change into a vehicle that can sow the field you've just ploughed. Third one, you drop water on it. Although, Simon, if it's rained, you don't have to do that. Fourth one, you harvest your crops.
Wow.
And each you then sell your crops and make money, and then you keep racing around. I thought it was a brilliant idea, like really clever. And what really excited me was it's a bit like the way the name inspired you to think of a completely different game. This feels like a mashup that someone's just like pulled a couple of levers and it's gone, all right, what would be a farming game with a 16-bit arcade racer? How would that work? And it's produced something that I've never seen before. And there are hundreds of different genres we could smoosh together like that. It makes me want to do it. So I'm going to go back to that game, play it some more, but mostly I want to make my own hybrid thing. 7 out of 10.
The wire that's dropped in front of your webcam did for a moment make it look like a lens flare. And I thought it was in like a Michael Bay style movie. What is it?
It's not a wire. It
is a lens flare. Oh,
It
wow.
is lens flare.
Look at that. God, goodness me, you're cool, aren't you?
Very cool. That's what it's like in London, Simon.
Is it?
It's really cool. It's really cool. But the problem is we all of our homes smell of meat all the time. That's it. Good. Been a fun show.
Yes.
We've got about a minute to kill. Anything else?
So what we don't know is whether we're going to be back next week, do we?
We're not sure about that. We're going to consult with Resonance and find out whether they celebrate Easter or not.
How will you be celebrating it, Steve? If we don't hear from you next week,
I will be going to a park and doing an Easter egg hunt. It's completely fine.
It is completely fine saying that. Absolutely fine.
Go on then.
What? You'll be doing an Easter egg hunt.
I will be doing a search for egg shaped.
I think Dexter's grown out of that now.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, you can go. There's nothing stopping you going. You play video games, Simon.
No, I mean saying that those two words together. In front of his teachers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We haven't, no, have we?
No.
We're still here. There's a karaoke on the third Saturday of the month, so that's a couple of weeks away. Please come to that. Tickets are available now. If you don't know where, go to hello.mario.ke. We're also going to be playing Reboot in a few weeks, which, Simon, I know you're going to say you can't go, but you really should go to.
Okay. See you there.
Okay. All right. Until next week or the week after, we have been One Life Left, and I've had a really nice time.
Me too, and me too.
Bye.
Bye.